Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. The Woodpreneur podcast is proudly sponsored by Acres CRM. Acres CRM is the wood industry's only customer relationship management software dedicated to helping you automate your sales and marketing so that you can focus on serving your customers and growing your business. You can visit acresoftimber.com to learn more and to schedule a demo. Once again, that's acresoftimber.com. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. As your host, Steve. Today's guest is Mike Jones from Mike Jones Made It. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thanks for being on. Hey, so why don't you tell everybody about your business? How'd you get started? What's the origin story?
Let's start way back, kind of where I even got interested in just making stuff. So back when I was a kid, my parents were entrepreneurs and had real estate. And my dad was a do-it-yourselfer as well as my mom. So I kind of grew up always helping my dad renovate stuff like my mom's daycare and some of their rental properties. So just stuff back then that I hated and didn't enjoy a lot as a young person. Fast forward several years later, I went to college, did a little work in affordable housing finance and tax-exempt bond finance and whatnot. And I kind of was burnt out on it for a while. And I guess around in 2019, I just kind of started building stuff for myself as a hobby and kind of just didn't realize how much I enjoyed it now that it wasn't like just demanded or just forced upon me. Just having the opportunity to build things that I wanted to build versus, what my dad had tasked me with for that particular day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically I started building stuff for myself and posting it online. And originally I started like selling a lot of my stuff on Facebook, kind of just to fund my habit.
Yeah.
And buy new tools. And eventually I kind of branched out into other markets of like, Etsy and whatnot to help fund my obsession a little bit more. But I guess later the opportunity kind of came up to really focus on growing it. And throughout the pandemic and during the pandemic, I decided to make it full time in order to grow it more. Right before I got married and before I had a kid and everything. So I just figured it was, a time to take that opportunity and chase my passion. And
Wow.
that was about 2 years ago now, going full time. And yeah, it's just been an exciting experience of challenges and growth and learning and just a really unique experience for me. And I've just, enjoyed it.
What did you do before you went full time?
So I did tax-exempt bond finance and affordable housing finance.
You had an office job.
Yep. Definitely all the way an office job.
I love talking to people about how they quit their jobs, but how did you quit your job? Like, what was the step-by-step method in which you were able to say, okay, I am ready to go all in on my business?
I can't say it's just like one pivotal moment. I guess I think with a lot of people, the pandemic kind of just showed a lot of insecurity and a lot of vulnerability in like our economy.
Yeah.
And that the same thing with, a lot of people that worked at office. You didn't know if you were going to be in the office the next day or the day before.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Finance is something I kind of fell into. So even just if we kind of bag back, like in college, I have a bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies in leadership and society. A whole bunch of stuff, but
A whole bunch of
math.
stuff. Yeah.
But not a lot of math. So kind of finance was just a career that I found that I guess I was somewhat good at. And,
Yeah.
it helped me make a living. But at that point, I wasn't really happy sitting in an office all day. And it wasn't a primarily office job, but an aspect of my job was to do site visits for these huge multifamily developments to, go over our budgets and our monthly draws and whatnot. So I got to see the tangible work my numbers did.
Yeah.
And I think that, along with the pandemic, kind of urged me to put forth more effort towards my business. And then it also became a point where I was working on stuff every evening and weekend, and it was almost limiting my ability to grow my business as far as like Etsy's and whatnot. It's one
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
to do.
Your job was holding you back. It was.
Well, a lot of people say that until, it's your only source of income.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a totally different story because you're doing something just to make excess income when it's a side hustle or a part-time thing. But when it's your only sole source of income, you really have to reevaluate things. So I guess it got to a point where I felt like I was doing enough business and growing enough in order to sustain myself.
Mm.
And then, with my wife at that time, fiance, we kind of made a deal. She gave me a year to see if I can make it happen. And I'm so grateful. And with her, her support as well, that kind of gave me the opportunity to chase that dream. So I think all the convergence of those factors kind of made me say, jump out. And then one last thing was just my parents being entrepreneurs before me.
Yeah.
That was just kind of something I've always wanted to pursue, no matter the specific industry or avenue. I always wanted to have that type of freedom.
Yeah, yeah. You had the model. But you doing your own thing wasn't a foreign thing for you.
Yeah. It wasn't completely foreign, but I think like a lot of small business owners and people who start business know it's so much more than what you do, the product you produce, the service you provide and stuff like that. But when you get into the actual nitty gritty of running a business, it's just a totally different world. Even if you've gone to school for business, even if you had worked alongside others, it's just a totally different thing doing it on your own. Yeah. Sorry for
Okay.
rambling.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No worries. All right. And how did you get the word out about your business? Like, how are you bringing in customers right now?
So right now, just a host of different things. Originally, it was only just Facebook and maybe Instagram. I have a Facebook page that I try to post occasionally, a lot of Instagram, Etsy, as well as Etsy ads. I have my website as well. I try to do as much like SEO research and update it to like all those keywords and term search. Kind of been my biggest thing is like metadata with my website right now.
Do you do a lot of SEO stuff?
Trying to. It seems like that it's so many automatic like word search and search engines. It's really valuable to invest your time in that. And I don't know if this is really considered a way of getting the word out there or a specific marketing thing, but I find the biggest thing is like Google reviews and just like reviews in general. That's probably my biggest way of bringing in work and right now.
Okay. Yeah. Social proof really matters, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you're like an online based business, when you don't have a storefront for people to like come and actually touch and see. And then with such high end or handmade products and stuff that costs a lot, people are they need to feel comfortable before making such a purchase, totally online.
Yeah.
So reviews help so much.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what do you build?
So primarily I do a lot of beds. I've been trying to venture into a little bit of cabinetry right now.
All right. Is it just you or do you have a team?
Just me. I originally started just doing mostly coffee tables, but for probably the past couple of years, it's just been mostly beds and a lot of little custom tables and whatnot here in between. And like I said, lately, I've been trying to get into cabinetry. That's something I've enjoyed lately.
Yeah. 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 I really love cabinetry because
I like the efficiency.
yeah, it's efficient, but it's also high ticket, right? Like, if you do a built-in or a locker entryway locker, that's like $3,000 to $5,000, right?
Yeah.
If you do a kitchen, that's 70,
even more.
yeah, 70 to 100 to 150, right? Versus a coffee table, which is
Right. Yeah. And I mean, of course, now I've gotten more efficient with my time as far as building the beds I do because there's storage beds. So it's like a lot of drawers and stuff, but it's modular.
yeah, yeah,
And kind of I've transferred that into cabinetry. And for me, the biggest price is the time. So if I
yeah,
spend the same amount of time on a $5,000 bed, the same amount of time I spend on cabinet, I could probably make 16 or 18, on the same 4 weeks of time.
yeah.
Put me into something.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the material is readily available. You could probably go even more higher end if you have more, cost if you move beyond like the plywood and MDF stuff, right? But like you can
Right.
charge a little bit more if you have premium hardwood, walnut, white oak, what have you. But yeah, it's funny. There's a couple things that you mentioned that for the devoted Woodpreneur podcast folks, they'd heard me say that I am big on search engine optimization. I'm hot on SEO at the moment because I think it's a low hanging fruit in terms of marketing. And then the other thing is I'm big on high ticket. There's literally no way for you to make any significant amount of money if you're selling low ticket, small tables, side tables. Like, I mean, you're going to be relegated to hobby status, right?
Right.
It may offend some people, but like, you're not going to be able to make like a real living with a bunch of cutting boards and a bunch of like small things. Those are good fillers, but how did you pick this path, or did the path pick you?
How did I pick this path?
Like this model, this particular business model.
I wouldn't say I picked it. I say my business model is constantly evolving. I think that's the only way to just survive. I mean, if I had a set model, I think that would mean I'd be happy or complacent. I don't know. Just at this point, I'm still focused on growing. I think as any business should. And I guess throughout my short time in this or pursuing it, I've just learned things to make it more profitable, more efficient, more sustainable. It's more so like once I figured out how to make it sustainable, I just, try to grow and make it more secure. And by sustainable, not just money, but clients and just having that steady stream of stuff. I think that confidence, it took a while to build up. It took a lot of Facebook sales, a lot of sales and little stuff before I had the confidence to say, this is really something I enjoy it. And then just when you do something when you're tired and after work and on your weekends and on your vacations, I think you develop a passion for it and you sacrifice a lot of stuff in time and whatnot. So it's just something you have to have a love for in every aspect.
Sure. What does the future hold for you? What do you want to get into? Yourself. How big do you want to be?
How big? I mean, I want to do 150 restaurants, or I really, really want to do larger jobs. A lot of people, and I was talking to a close friend about this. He used to tell people, I make boxes. And like, you make boxes? He's a mechanical engineer, and he actually makes for a paper company that engineers big boxes for all these large companies. But he really portrays it as, I make boxes. And that's kind of the perception you get when you talk about woodworkers or furniture makers in general. But I was kind of to explain to him, I don't want to just do be a hobby guy, just doing tables or just beds. I really want to be able to have employees and have orders booked out for the year. I want to make this a large thing. I don't want to just have like one delivery van. I want to have several, a fleet to be able to do things like that.
Yeah.
I know originally it started kind of like, I just want my own shop in the basement or in my backyard. But hopefully I want to do commercial work, like, a chain of restaurants. I would like to do, I don't know, boutique hotels, stuff like that. Larger jobs that, I can grow from. I think is limited. I listened to another podcast, it was Ethan's. I can't remember the guy's name, but he interviewed him. He talked about getting a contract to do all the furniture for an entire soccer stadium, a new soccer stadium.
Yeah.
So I would love to do that. Just visiting conferences like IWF and stuff, seeing like those large manufacturers and whatnot. I mean, for me, I feel like there's no limit as far as how far I can go. Is time and effort are usually the biggest limiting factor. So that's
for sure. So this is a part of the interview where I ask you any marketing or business questions, or you ask any marketing or business questions. Is there anything that you need help with or need something to think through that I could help you out with?
It's always website. Like I said, I know it's SEO data, SEO research and whatnot. Do you use Google Analytics? And if so, how? And what ways do you use that to like better your website and your marketing? And I guess, what is that? Targeting of your audience and whatnot?
Yeah. So I'm on your website, MikeJonesMadeIt.com. And the one thing that I see is you kind of need to address. So I guess you can look at Google Analytics. The question is like, how do you use Google Analytics, right? the thing is, like, you could see what's your highest entry page and then what's your highest exit page. Also, bounce rate is really important, right? And just like the amount of time that people spend on your site, right? So those are some key things, right? So you want people to spend a lot of time on your site, right? You want them to, you want to give them a natural path for them to consume the information onto your page. And you want to give them a strong call to action.
Right.
So
my hero banner.
yeah. So I'm looking at your website right now. And the one thing is it's on the homepage, it's a little sparse, right? So it's like, so I would put, you know, a tagline. So like what your tag, modern handmade furniture for whoever, right? Like who's your audience? Is it like young millennials, like boomers? Like who's your audience?
Boomers, definitely.
Boomers, definitely. Atlanta boomers or national boomers?
I would say national, definitely.
Okay.
I got a lot of Pacific Northwest. I don't know what's up with the Pacific Northwest, but if I could ship first.
Not sell on Etsy? Is that why?
Yeah. I sell on Etsy and on my website. I get a lot of inquiries and whatnot. So
yeah, what you need on your homepage. Let me see if I could share. I don't know if it'll come through.
I need to call to action to delete email addresses.
So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So the one thing that I would do here is, so I would put like some sort of slideshow right here of your different furniture, right? And then on the bottom here, you know what? Let me see. This is total experimental right here. This is
right.
I've never done this before. But let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to mock up what I think your webpage should look like. Okay.
Cool.
Because I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Right?
I appreciate it.
Okay. So you have home, about, portfolio. I think you need a blog. And then I think you need reviews.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out how to embed like my Google review. I've seen people have that kind of like shrink.
Yeah. Is this Wix? What is this?
This is Squarespace.
This is Squarespace. Oh yeah. They have widgets for that. I could let you know. The other thing is, I know we all love our logos, but the logo is too big.
Got it.
Logo is too big. And then here, so I think you need a slideshow of your finished products. And then underneath you get a custom quote. See what I'm saying?
Call to action. Is that kind of the call to action to get a customer?
Yeah, that's the call to action. The call to action is you get a quote, right? Slideshow of your thing. And then you have a tagline, right? So let's just say we did this. And I'm just going to see if I could get a custom quote. And then underneath that, you have a testimonial 1, testimonial 2, and then you also have testimonial 3, right? Underneath there. And then I think what's on the bottom? That's it. Really? That's the homepage, right? See if you could find something like that as a template. But there are some good templates out there. I would definitely add a blog, definitely add reviews, or you can combine your portfolio with reviews. Look for widgets with Etsy and Google reviews, you know, or you can just take screenshots of them and add them there. You know what I mean? And then I just add a blog. Instead of saying FAQs, I would add a blog with all of the questions that people always ask you. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can definitely increase a lot of conversions because let's see. Yeah. So because if people get to your page, they don't know what to do, then they leave. Right. And which is why I like SEO, because SEO is like people are literally searching for you. You're literally searching for you. Like I had a client that we did their website, and within the first week of opening up their website, they got 12 leads, which literally turned into like 40 grand worth of projects.
Wow.
And it was because literally people were searching for them.
Yeah. It's easier for the customer.
What people have to realize is Google's job is to make sure that it delivers to its customers. Who's its customers? People that are searching for stuff online. And so your job as a website owner is to make sure that you make Google's job easier. So you need to optimize your website. You need to fill it with keywords so that, you know, if you make custom dining tables, custom cabinetry, like all of those things actually need their own page with examples and testimonials on there. Is that helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So Mike, any last bit of parting advice for the Woodpreneur community of what you learned?
Last bit of parting advice is to always be open to knowledge and opportunities and growth, and don't be afraid to tackle on something to make yourself better and grow your business.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. And how can people get in touch? What's your website?
You can reach me at www.mikejonesmadeit.com, Mike Jones Made It, on Instagram, as well as on Twitter and Facebook. My email is info@mikejonesmadeit.com as well. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Woodpreneur podcast, the #1 podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood, flooring, and sawmill industry. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating and review. You can also tap into our community by visiting woodpreneurlife.com. Once again, that's woodpreneurlife.com. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.